This is Ty,
This is two.
and we're just here telling you if you like the video, put your thumbs up, like, subscribe. Bye.
Bye.
Go ahead and start the show.
Oh, start the show?
That's the raw stuff.
All right, start the show. All right, what's up? What's good, everybody? This is Ty Lamar. She is.
Two Winters.
And this is
Talking Shit with TNT.
Yeah, I'm on Q today. What's up? All right, what's up, everybody? It's been a little while since we started doing this, so we're gonna let's start off with the topic. He was like, let's get into this right now. You know what I mean? So, I was on Facebook, and you put up a interesting post asking a question. Can you tell everybody what that question was?
Okay, so the question that I posed on Facebook yesterday was, what does the Confederate flag mean to you? I got a lot of answers.
I've seen that.
But it came from mainly a debate that I was having in a group. I'm gonna tell you where the whole story came about. So I'm back in these groups again, of course, talking to the people of my county.
Starting trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically a high school graduate, pulled out his flag, which is a Mexican flag. And he had it over his gown.
Okay.
As he marched, and they wouldn't let him get his diploma. Now, since then, they've given it to him.
Why?
But,
What was that reason?
Because it was against dress code.
Okay, I can almost understand that though.
But mind you, in another area, another school, a girl wore a Confederate flag around her gown, and nothing happened.
Wow.
Nothing happened.
So why would she wear a Confederate flag? What was the reason why she would wear that flag?
I don't know, and I didn't catch the story. I just saw it in the group. They were mentioning it. And somebody was like, I'm not, on either side. I just feel like it should be fair. If he couldn't do it, then she shouldn't be able to do it. If she could do it, then he should be able to do it. That's what they were saying. But it strolled off into, of course, the main races that are here in this area, white and black. And someone said, I know this person though. He said, why am I the arbiter of how everybody else feels? Because they're trying to say, Black people like this flag. I was like, yeah, no doubt. There are some that like it. And I mean a minute some.
There's a very minute
that like it. But the majority of us either don't really care or don't see the heritage and positivity that you see in this flag. We're never going to see that because you're talking about our ancestors. I mean, basically, like when someone asked me, I posted in the group because they were talking about the flag, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
And I was like, when I see that flag, I think of the soldiers that were forced to fight against their freedom. I think of the slaves that were running away on the Underground Railroad, risking their life just so that they can have their freedom. I thought of savagery, rape. I mean, a lot of things is what I think of when I think of that flag.
Yeah.
And he was like, nobody answered to that. No one said anything about that.
So that's what, you know what, and that before we get to the comment that got me, I feel like the first part of your comment that you just said about you can't really compare somebody walking around with their Mexican flag, which is a true flag of national heritage where their people are from. They're from Mexico, so you should be able to wear your Mexican flag. That's not a big deal to me.
That
Whereas
this
I,
county
I'm
don't feel that way.
going to just tell you the way I feel about it now. I feel as though if we just take the racism out of it, and trust me, I don't take the racism out of it. But if we do take the racism out of it and just look at it, honestly, we're talking about a treasonous flag. What they committed was treason, first and foremost. So to sit up here and walk around talking about this is our heritage, you don't see people in Nazi in Germany with their swastikas or
Right.
in Italy with their flags their own for their own socialist party either. So when you are walking around talking about this is my heritage, your heritage is full of traitors. So you can't. It's like an oxymoron. Like, why would you walk around? You'll walk around with that flag, and in the other hand, you walk around with the American flag. It don't make sense.
It doesn't mix.
It don't. Now I don't want to hear about your heritage. Your heritage was obviously on the wrong side of history. It was intolerable. I mean,
But they want to fly that flag because as another person who and I'm not going to give names or anything, but another person they inboxed me and commented, and basically it was just like you I was raised that it was our heritage. That's how I was raised. She says, but now when I see it, I cringe because I have learned, she says she's learned that, that's not how everybody feels about that flag. There's a lot of hurt within that flag. And the fact that because the other person made the comparison and I went with it. Come on now. They know that if I get on there, you're gonna have a good debate. You're gonna have a great debate because I believe in what I believe in. Very seldomly do I switch sides, but I believe in what I believe in, and it doesn't have anything to do with political status or whatever. I'm a Black woman. Okay, that's number one. I'm a Black woman, and you're telling me he went to school in America. You would think that he would have some pride in. I'm like, come on now. And then another person said, well, why is it that Black people can have Black pride, and I say Black power, but when a white person says white power, then it's seen as negative or hateful. I said, I'll give you that one, because when Black people say Black power with the fists in the air or Black pride or I'm Black and I'm proud, that's because we're saying we're Black and look at all of our accomplishments. Even though you set us back, even though you pushed us back, even though you drug us back, we're still making it. We're still above y'all in entertainment. We're still above y'all in sports. We're still above y'all in most things that we do. And now we're coming up on money. We're learning about cryptocurrency. We're learning about the Forex. We're learning about stocks. We're learning about all that stuff. If you don't think, if they should know by now, if you don't, just watch Black folks. I mean, the world has pushed us under and stomped on us, and still we rise. Just like the smoke that's coming up or the dust that's coming up, we still rise. It don't make no difference. Sports, all of that. Like, that's why we're proud. We are proud of ourselves. And that, don't come at me with no black on black crime and all that BS. We talked about that over and over and over and over and over.
And that to me is always such a mute point, because I feel like that is advertised in such a bad way, because if we're going to be honest with you, most people who have crime committed against them, especially murder, you're more than likely to get killed by somebody of your own race than you'll be killed by somebody outside your race. and
Right.
that's just facts. Um, and the whole thing about the white power thing to me, I always feel like when you say white power, and what people don't understand is that's like when you say all lives matter. Look, people don't understand. Like, no, they understand. They just play stupid. When people say these things, they're not trying to go against you. They're not saying that your life don't matter, and they don't get the two part because they don't really care about the two part because they got an agenda. But as a whole, when you hear about Black Power, you know, it was at one point in time, it was something to be ashamed of to be Black. You know what I mean? And as a darker skinned person, especially as the darker you are, the worse you were. And I love the fact that darker skinned people are getting more accolades or getting, there's a beauty in it now that when I was growing up, it was not a beauty of being a darker skinned person. So, you know, when you say Black is beautiful, it was trying to build up because for a long time, for 400 years, we were told that Black was ugly. And even though you ain't had no problem going there and fucking a Black ugly woman or girl, because
So
obviously,
they say.
yeah.
Yeah, so they say, because come on now. And I went to a school that I was, like I said it before, I was the only Black girl in my entire grade. And I didn't think I was pretty or beautiful. Now, I'll take that back. I knew I was cute.
Mhm.
Okay. But I didn't find out I was beautiful until I was back with my people. So I was back with the Black folks. Like when all the schools came together to high school, that's when I found out because those kids were like, she not she no.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, so when you take something that Black people were using to build themselves up because they were knocked down so much, and to now you trying to say, oh well, why is it Black power? Or why is it, why can't it be white power? Why can't it be white pride? Cause nigga, y'all already got fucking pride.
Like,
Y'all
what do
already have
you
your pride. Y'all
I
pride.
asked him, I think my answer was never met because I said, no, what do you have to be proud of? Like, merely it's not it is a proud of your whiteness,
Mhm.
but I was like, tell me that you're not just proud of this flag. That's all you got. I mean, y'all got NASCAR. I mean, come on. That's what you got. You got NASCAR?
I was watching this video. This comedian, this YouTube comedian, he did this thing where he was dressing up like the Ku Klux Klan, and the other guy was like, and he's Black now, and he was also dressed up as a cop, and he was like, "Yo, you can't wear that." He said, "Why not?" He said, "Because that's offensive." He said, "Who offensive to who? Offensive to white people. That is cultural appropriation. That's the only thing that white people ever came up with was the Ku Klux Klan."
Well,
He said,
I
"Oh, I
mean, in
see."
NASCAR.
In NASCAR, yeah, true. But I don't know. I'm playing around with that. I'm joking. But it's just the fact that when you I see the flag, and trust me, I didn't really see that flag in real life until I came down here.
Oh,
And
tell me
like,
about it.
it wasn't until I moved down here, and I remember the first time I seen it in Albemarle was when I was driving down Main Street, and they had a parade or like they had a rally on Main Street right there. You know where there's a little park right next to where where the bargain store is?
Oh, you talking about the farmers market?
Yeah. So they were out there with all their paraphernalia. The sons of the Confederacy was out there, and I'm like, wow, I have never seen that shit before. That was almost scary. Like coming from where I'm from, that was a scary thing to see. But I I always think of it like that. It's like it's a nervous energy around here too when it comes to the black white relationship. Like they get along, but it's like anything can set it off and it'll go crazy.
Oh yeah, waiting for that tension,
Yeah,
waiting for it to jump off because
and it's not to me. It's not a relaxed feeling. I'm an outsider to the shit, so it's not a relaxed feeling. It's like everybody cool, but there's a breaking point where it's like it's going to break. It's going to jump off.
Right. Like when the little situation that happened with one of my relatives, and and basically, my other relative had her vehicle blown up
Mhm.
and a swastika put on the side of her house with something about nigger
Mhm.
with the hard R. And I'm like,
Yeah, don't get me wrong, that shit happens up north. I mean, I remember when I was growing up, there was a person who moved into a predominantly white neighborhood or a
mhm,
white city because it was a whole city, and somebody burnt crosses on their yard and put nigger on in front of their house. You know what I mean? And this is not even like, these are Polish and Italian white people. This is not even white people. But it just I just remember growing up, we did have some aspects of it. And I just feel like this. I feel like the one thing that Donald Trump did, and I would think it was actually he did us a favor. He really showed us what that racist mentality that this country had is still there.
still there, live and well.
It's alive, well, and it's still strong. We got complacent in the fact that we were thinking that the racism actually did stop.
Well, I didn't.
Well, not us,
I,
like
I know where I'm
not
at
personally,
down here.
not you personally, but
Uh-huh.
as people, especially as a northerner. You know what I mean? Because being a northerner, there were certain things that you'll say, and I think it's more or less. I feel like it's not in. It used to be in the dark. Like I said, I always tell people this shit. Like I tell people this shit down here all the time. When I lived in Jersey, I felt like I went through way more. I ain't gonna say discrimination, but I'm gonna say way more profiling in New Jersey than I have been down here.
Mhm.
I've been pulled over so many times in New Jersey or been followed by the cops so many times, just because, I was a black dude in a nice truck that was kind of new, and they decided to pull me over every time.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And they got a lot of tickets for it. So to me, I always tell people that like there's racism everywhere, but it just seemed like now that Trump was in office,
Mhm.
he really put a face. So he put faces to the racial people. You know what I mean? The white people who are really racist. You know what I mean? And gave them the ability to let them. He gave them a little ability to like really poke their head out and struck their shit.
Like a
But
chicken.
yes, but here's the thing though. Now with Biden in office, now they cowering back. They're not doing as much. You don't see all that shit that you used to see before.
I mean, not as much, but it's still happening.
I'm
Like people are on the in the group that I was in. One of the responders, commenters said, "What if I can tell you I know a colored guy, and she wasn't that old? That's
yeah.
the thing. She wasn't that old." So I was like, I said, "Are we using the term colored
Last time
in
you heard that.
2021? In 2021, colored?" And then another commenter, "Well, that word was common when I was growing up. Well, it ain't now, homie.
Ain't
So
nobody
drop it." Well, they say people of color. That's a different thing. That
oh, yeah.
that that is a
That's
whole
a
different
group.
thing.
That's a group of people, and that's not even
Right,
black. That's not even black.
right. That's everybody that's in the shade of
Everybody
the white.
non-white.
Right. Person of color, people of color, POC, however you want to say it. But just saying colored, I mean, we talking about where there was drink fountains that said colored and white.
Yes.
We don't, nobody,
Sangria, margaritas, y'all.
I probably should post another question. What does the term color mean to you? Because I'm pretty sure there's gonna be somebody saying, when I was young, I would go and I would see colored and white
But is
drinking
it not that
fountain.
old? Like, all right. So I've never seen a sign that say color people. And
My father has.
I'm 40, but I'm younger than your father. God damn. I mean,
Yeah, but I'm saying that there's people that have seen it.
I don't know.
They
There's
know
people that have
about
seen
it.
There's people that have seen it and they know about it, but I'm just talking about as a 42-year-old person. I'm 42 and have never seen it. So it had to be older than me.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't
But
be
they weren't. That person was not older. They
exactly
were maybe like 5 years older than you.
exactly. So you're not old enough to even see color. You know what I'm saying? So it just I don't know. It's almost like we live in this world, and I think that we were taught, and especially with I mean, let's call it what it is with white people, especially they were taught something about black people, that like black people were less than. It's funny. I was looking at something on history a couple of days ago, and they were talking
Mm-hmm.
about the slave trade. And the most interesting part about the slave trade was, they made slaves because they were black. So they were, it's almost like they were trying to justify enslaving people. But the thing is, what they don't tell you in history is Europeans used to, I ain't gonna say worship, they used to admire black culture. They still do.
They
But,
still do. I'm about to say,
but,
like, the
but
white people that are here are basically European. They're descendants of the Europeans.
well, white people, because because we always talk, and I always hate when people be like, black people don't use their money right, they spend it on gold chains, gold ring.
Who said that?
People say that all the fucking time.
It's somebody that what, somebody other than us, or are we saying that?
We are saying that. We are saying that too about each other. And it's always like when you hear about black people talking about, when you hear about other black people talking about our culture or the way black people spend their money on like cars and fancy bags and stuff like that. But that's part of African culture. We weren't like we are taught that black people were coming from the jungle,
Bush.
jungle,
They ain't say
like
jungle. They said bush.
the bush. So if you really know black culture, and this is what white people admired, they liked the fact that black people had money, black people had gold, they were adorned in the finest clothes. You know what I mean? They were all running around with loincloths and their titties out. They had gold, everything. And they admired that. Even to the point where some of the Portuguese were marrying the black women and getting up in status because they couldn't even match the status of the black African woman. So it's just that when it became financially possible to become a racist, that's what they used that for. They couldn't keep indentured servants. The natives, they would escape when they wanted to, and
The Irish.
the Irish
Don't forget the Irish. They want to say the Irish were slaves.
no, they were never slaves.
Nope.
Let's now. People need to stop that nonsense.
I gave an E for effort. I said, you know what? Bravo, but that's not it, buddy. He also said this. Let me tell you this right quick, because this is going. He said, get this. Hold on. Let me get it with a straight face. Okay. He said that over here, that there were more black people that owned slaves than white folks over here.
All right, so let's first tackle the Irish slave part.
Mm-hmm.
All right, in Europe, there was one thing that you did not do, other than Russia, and even Russia didn't have slaves. They were called serfs. Since you were a Christian in Europe, the one thing you could not do was enslave another Christian. So they did not have Irish slaves. What they had were indentured servants. And most of the people who became indentured servants, two reasons. One reason is you had a debt, you wanted to pay it off, so you became an indentured servant. You served the years, and then you became a free person. Or you didn't owe that person nothing. Or two, you was a prisoner. So you were an indentured servant for a certain amount of years, and you still were allowed freedom. Now the laws were always separated for white indentured servants and slaves. Black slaves always got the worst of all the punishment, even if white people or the white indentured servants were a part of the same plot. Now we're going to get down to the black owning slaves. Yes, there were black people who owned slaves.
Mm-hmm.
how many black people were rich enough to own a fucking slave? Now, let's be real. There were black people who owned slaves, but they were not rich enough to own slaves. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like there were not slaves in Africa, but the chattel slavery that was put upon us in this western in the Western Hemisphere, I can't speak. The
This
Western
weird.
Hemisphere
That drink hitting.
hit hard, but no, this the chattel slavery that was put on us in the Western Hemisphere, that was a totally different type. The dehumanization
Mm-hmm.
of people,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what you did. You know what I mean? So to sit up here and pretend like there were more black people owning slaves over here, there wasn't even enough black free people in this country. So that is nonsense. Now there were slaves all through through the country as a colony. So from all 13 colonies had slaves. Now it ended up being less profitable for the northern states to have slaves than the southern states. And the southern states didn't want to get rid of slaves because they didn't want to pay for the labor to keep their agriculture going. You know what I mean?
Money.
People had to pick cotton. Now you don't need nobody to pick your fucking cotton. You got machines that can do the same shit as 100 slaves. But back then, you ain't want to pay 100 people to pick fucking cotton and pay them money. Oh hell no! It was cheaper to get some slaves, give them meager meals. I mean, shit. You pay $100 for a slave, $500 for a slave, and you got that motherfucker for life, and you make him all profit after that. Then
Right.
you make that you made him with another woman, and you raise his kids up. Now you got more slaves.
Or the other, or you have kids with the slave woman,
That happens too.
and they are born into slavery. Let's see, what's his name? Douglas,
Frederick Douglass was half white.
born into slavery.
Born
From
into slavery.
Massa and his mama, born into slavery.
I was watching something on YouTube. I love YouTube. So support because I love YouTube. YouTube put me on the algorithm. I got 26 videos up. 26 videos, YouTube. 26. Hit me off with some monetization and more people looking at my shit. Anyway.
He been drinking though.
No, fuck that. Anyway. No, seriously though. Saudi Hemmings was half white, half black.
Right.
Most of the people that you hear about are half white, half black. You know what I mean? And they made it a law that you take the race of your mother instead of your father, which is something different because most of the time, who are you taking in last name? Your mother or your father? Your father.
Your father.
But why was it that you were taking the race of your mother? You know why you were taking
Because they wanted to keep the whole little secrecy thing going.
There you go. So,
But it ain't no secret. Like if you have if most of the Africans that come along are all brown skinned, and all of a sudden here's a little curly hair,
light skinned chick,
light skinned kids coming around. Massa?
And I know we talked about this in our last show about, the white man having children and the white woman just sitting around looking stupid. But I guarantee you, though, it just I hear this stuff from people and some of your people. What was very interesting to me, what the most was, that was a black man, no names, that said Southern culture. And when I see that, I don't know what's wrong when I see a black person say that. Now, when I say, and it's weird because growing up, I don't know about you, but I love the Dukes of Hazzards.
You love to do what?
The Dukes of Hazzards.
Oh yeah.
Man, look, I thought that car was a magical car. That motherfucker jump, them motherfuckers do those jumps and shit like that. I thought it was awesome. It wasn't until I was grown that I realized that was a Confederate flag on General Lee, and it was called the General Lee. Oh my God! So it was all the way Confederate.
Yeah.
And it was a TV show in the 80s. In the 80s, I was again watching this shit.
No, because the last lynching that was documented, an actual lynching, was in 1981.
Exactly. So this is the 80s. So we watching a racist fucking car drive past And what got me the worst was the fact that they had black people on the fucking show as helpers. Oh my God, like literally, like, and everybody was cool with the General Lee. And this is the part of it where I was young. I was young. I was dumb young. I was about like, but when Deuce Hazard was on, I was like 6, 7, 8, 9. At the very oldest, 9 years old. And I had to watch that shit religiously. It wasn't until I was in my teen years, like, nigga, I was watching a racist shit. And it was on TV.
Oh,
Nigga,
yeah.
they made a remake of the movie. They
Oh,
made
yeah, I remember
it
that.
as a movie. And I'm like, wow. Like, and they called the car, I think they changed the name of the car. They took the Confederate flag off, but they just made it an orange car. I used to love that fucking car. That car was awesome. I thought that car had superpowers.
Mhm.
But when I hear black people defending the flag, a part of me is like, you're trying to be a part of something. You're trying to be a part of a club that you're not a part of. I can understand if you're white and you're ignorant to it because you grew up with it and you're taught something.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're black and you grow up with the Confederate flag, you're not you haven't grown up with that. You know what the true meaning of that flag is. And to say that's part of Southern culture, it's not part of your Southern culture, black man. I almost said the N word, but I'm not going to say the N word. I'm going to try to curve the N word on the podcast, even though I'm drinking, so that might fail totally. But even with that said, black man, you're not a part of that Southern culture.
I mean, it is a part of our culture. But as far as a
It's a
meaning
negative
goes,
part of our culture. Look, we've been see, I done broke it already. We've been hung with that flag. I mean, I'm sorry. I just the flag annoys me. I'm sorry. I see truck every time I see a truck with it, and ask them like this: ask the black people in that group this: if when you see a Confederate flag on a truck or anything, how do you feel about the person who have it? Because I know automatically for me, I think they're racist.
well, when I asked about what does the Confederate flag mean to you, a lot of people said when I see it, I think racism.
Yeah,
So obviously they thinking that the person that's driving the vehicle is a big racist
yeah.
and they proud of their racism. Like that's what most people think of you. Maybe they need to know, hey, dude with the truck and the Confederate flag on the back, we don't think you're cool.
No, I think you're a racist. I'm
We
sorry.
don't think that's heritage.
It don't seem like heritage to me. I'll be real with you. I just every time I see it, I think it's a racist person. And I don't know.
Or maybe that it is heritage, yeah. But it's not the right side of heritage. Like that's not nothing to be proud of.
It's a racist heritage. I look.
I mean, on every okay, so three things: treason, okay, and it was you and black soldiers had to fight against their freedom. Frontliners had to fight against their freedom, dying, fighting to keep them enslaved. What?
Yes.
What?
Yes. So no.
That's the thing that hits me the hardest. Well, and people did say like black people died for that flag. Yeah, they did die for that flag, but
They didn't want to.
they didn't want to.
They didn't want to.
They was like, this is y'all war though. NASA, this is y'all war. Whoever, this is y'all war. What you need me for? You gonna put me in a suit for what? I mean, y'all saw the dude that was even from the Union Army who had the tree on the back of his back.
Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, I feel like there's a lot of ignorance involved with people, and it's willful ignorance too.
Oh yes, there's a lot of willful ignorance. And when I'm explaining to you what it means to me, if your response is, but it's my heritage, I would be like, but that's the wrong side of heritage, my friend.
Yeah, it's willful ignorance.
That's the wrong side.
And I don't give people the benefit of the doubt. I know they know what they're doing. You know what I mean? I know I know they know what they're doing, so I don't give them that benefit. Oh well, they don't know what they know what they're doing. You know what I mean? And you know what? And I feel like it's at that time in our history where we shouldn't have to keep on bringing up race. It shouldn't be an issue. We should be smart enough. You know what I mean? We should know the science. Like we are in a scientific age where we know things now that we didn't know 100 years ago.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And so I'm like, right now we should be in a place where this shit should not be what it is. Like
But
you should know.
it keeps being stirred. That pot.
Because I just feel like people people want to be better than other people so bad. You
And
know,
that's the best way to do it, because don't everybody always know everybody's financial status. So I can't say you're poor.
no, because you're not poor no more. Like niggas are not poor no more. Like they're not a
Right.
lot. Niggas are making money, are starting to make money now. But hit, I said the niggas is twice, but 30 times. Anyway, it's just to the point where black people are making money now, but it's just a point of, you know, it just like, and what cracks me up is a lot of people who are racist, they're broke as shit. They couldn't even if slavery was around, they couldn't afford a fucking slave or take care of no fucking slaves. But this goes into a psychological thing, and I've been thinking about this. I feel like people who are racist are just looking for somebody to be better than.
Oh yeah, of course.
So, you know what I mean? That's like, you know how you used to go to school and, you know, the kids, they wore Nikes or Jordans. They felt like they were better than the people who were wearing Payless shoes or sneakers. You know what I mean? Like,
I remember that kind of thing in like movies. Where I come from, that was, maybe it was for other kids, but I don't remember around the ones that were around me
no.
that was even a thing. Like
Where I used to live
nobody
at,
cared.
where I used to live at in Camden, you go to school with a pair of Bobos, we used to call them. We used to call them Bobos. And we used to have a whole song. Bobos, they make your feet feel fine. Bobos, they cost $1.99. We used to have a whole song about that when the kids used to come to school that wasn't wearing Nike, Reebok, or Adidas. Shit. If 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 you were champions, you may have been picked on. If you were wearing Filas for 5 years, they were cool. Then after 5 years, they were both. I'm serious. They were trash shoes. I mean, I remember there used to be a street in Camden, you know, and you could not walk around down that street unless you had Nikes on. Literally, the kids will beat, like literally, they will beat you up, take your shoes off your feet, and throw them on electric wire. I am not
That's
lying.
mean.
Yes, it was very mean. It was 32nd Street in Camden, right off of Westfield, right off of not Westfield Avenue. Yeah, right off of Westfield Avenue and 32nd Street. And I never went down there because of that reason. You know what I mean? They were full of Puerto Ricans out there. But if you did not have Nikes on, they literally will beat you up and throw your shoes on the wire. But it's just people always like this is just human nature. As human beings, we are always looking for a way to make ourselves seem better than other human beings. So if it's not the Nikes on the shoes on your feet because of money, the color of your skin, the color of your eyes, anything that makes you feel like you are more superior than somebody else, people use that, and they use that against other people, and that's a problem that we have. And no matter how scientific, no matter how science proves that we are wrong or people are wrong about it, you know what I mean? They just don't. They just don't.
That's my take on PTSD though.
Post traumatic stress. Okay.
PTSD and um I can't think of the disorder right now, but oh my God, I can't think of the disorder. But it'll come to me eventually. But that's my take on it's a generational uh saga of Black PTSD. Because I feel like when they found out mixing these uh, slave women and these uh, uh, slave owner, when they found out that when they had babies, they came out light skinned.
Mhm.
I mean, people would think, oh, some of these light skins would be in the house. No, not always.
No.
They would put the light skin ones out there too.
Yeah.
But the thing is that the light skinned person, the light skinned slave may think I'm better because guess what? I'm master's child. I'm master's child. And sometimes in some instances, they became free because they were master's child,
Yeah.
depending on how it was, you know. There's
And yeah,
different instances for different folks. But I feel like slavery did that.
have you
I
ever
felt
heard about the Haitian Revolution?
I've heard about the Haitian Revolution. I thought you were gonna talk about that book.
No,
But go ahead.
not the book. No. No. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the John Lynch, Willie Lynch book. But
Yeah.
all right, the Haitian Revolution. Like you need to look that up. You might find it interesting. So basically, and this is just the part of it. You had the rich whites, the poor whites, the blacks, the the people of color. They called them.
Mhm.
They called them people of color because they were black, but they were mixed with white. So they were free people of color, and they were the slaves. Now, literally, the free people of color never considered themselves the equal of the slave because they had white blood.
Mhm.
Like what ended up happening was the dad would end up getting with one of the black women or a few of the black women and having kids, and the dad would free their kids, and the kids would have money. And they were rich. They were not as rich as the rich whites, but they were richer than the poor whites. And the poor whites didn't like it, so they were like, "Yo, we need to put these colored people with money below us." So they were offended by that. And the rich whites, they just wanted to say rich whites, they really didn't give a damn about both the people of color or the poor white.
Mhm.
And of course, nobody gave a fuck about the slaves because even the rich blacks didn't care about the slaves because they
Right.
thought they were better than. You know what I mean? So that white blood made them feel like they were higher than poor whites or rich blacks. I mean, poor blacks or the slaves.
Mhm.
But what ended up happening was the slaves did end up revolting, and it served the rich blacks better to team up with the slaves than to deal with the rich whites or the poor whites. And like, if you get into it, the Haitian Revolution is actually very fascinating because these are the only people
The only ones. Yep. Them island folk. That's why you don't play with them.
fought their way out of slavery,
Right.
and they fought against Napoleon Bonaparte, which is not an easy feat.
Nope. But they said come hell
And
and
that
high
was
water.
when Napoleon was kicking ass all over Europe. But it's just the fact that it just was a disunity because of your light skin, and we were taught that. I've been looking at some shit lately, and I'm not gonna go too far off the subject, but I've been looking at philosophy,
Mhm.
and it's been very interesting. It's been a very interesting ride for me with the philosophy. I always tell people this shit, and people look at me like I'm crazy, and I really don't care. But I always tell people that I'm atheist. I don't believe in God. And the more I read on philosophy, there's a reason why I don't. It becomes more apparent why I don't believe in God. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And one of the biggest reasons why I don't believe in God, or especially the Christian God, is this: Christianity is a fake religion. And I also feel like that. Not to be biased, but I also feel like that the same thing with Islam. But I feel like with Islam have a little bit better base because we have a group of people putting together your book and saying this is inspired by God. Like people don't like. I really and I don't like to get into arguments with Christians because that's a long ass argument and I really don't have the patience for it. But people don't realize that the Bible was not always the Bible. And the books that you read in the Bible was chosen by a bunch of men, period, and saying trying to unify the whole religion, which did not work. But the scriptures in the Bible, from especially the Greek scriptures, they were not they were canonized by a group of priests, and because they were trying to figure out was the Trinity right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And like I feel weird when I tell people like I'm not weird, but when I tell people like, yo, this is not real, people don't want to believe me because it's like it's something they grew up with. But to me, it's not real to me because I feel like I I I look at it and like, okay, so this group of people came around and said, this is in the Bible, this is in the Bible. We're gonna take this teaching because it supports what I believe in, and we'll keep this out because it don't support what I believe in. And I feel like, that's too much meddling by human beings trying to say that this scripture is inspired by God.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been getting into a lot of philosophy, and it's really been showing me that there's a lot of people that believe in certain things, and even like everything that we believe in kind of like buys into the fact that it supports our own personal beliefs, even though it may not be real.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it comes down to racism. You know what I mean? Because we believe in this stuff because it supports ourselves and picks ourselves up to be better than somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and even when it comes down to religion, most people are religious because it makes them feel better than somebody else. It's not that you are better, but it makes you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you say, "Oh, I worship the true God. My God is the real God." Now you got a community around you that tell you the same shit. And I'm starting to get to the point where now, and I know I'm older, but I feel like I want to start to look at more people and see how other people think. And I also not only see how other people think, I want to use my own brain to come up with my own philosophy. Because shit, I don't think Aristotle's smarter than my ass anyway. Shit, fuck him. And that is not the alcohol talking.
Okay.
No, no, no. Seriously, like always. Well, like, what makes a philosopher? You know what I'm saying? Like, what makes his philosophy better than what the fuck I got in my mind?
There's somebody that catches followings
And
and
that's the
has
only
somebody
thing.
that follows them.
You think you could be a philosopher and be a fucking YouTube influencer?
I mean, we are technically philosophers right now because
Yeah,
some of this stuff is a lot of this stuff is coming from, factual information,
yeah.
but we have to grasp our own ideas about how we feel about it to even speak on it. So yeah, I would say this is philosophizing at its
It's
minute
nice.
finest because we sit back here and we talk about life, like things that are going on
Yeah,
in our life, and
exactly.
it just sometimes though, the stupidity of people, um mm, the stupidity of people, and I'm not one to use that word.
I am.
I'm just, you know I don't let my kids use that word.
Mm-hmm.
And but there's some people on here that I'm like, where did you get your information from? Like, listen to what you just said. That don't make sense to anyone.
Yeah.
And I want to say that one or two or three people liked what they said. I'm like, y'all can't be serious right now. You
But
can't be serious. You cannot believe. You want to so bad though. You really want to believe that there was more black people over here that owned slaves. You want to believe that. I guarantee you do.
yeah,
But no, that's not a thing, honey. That's just not a thing.
it's
And
not.
a lot of times black people owning slaves wasn't a power tripping situation. It was, I'm getting my cousin and my auntie and my mama and
Yes, yes,
my son and my wife. I'm getting all of them. I can't save them all, but I can get my family.
yes.
So I'm like, dog, that's
And the
just
fact that if you can't realize that slavery in Africa was totally different than slavery in America,
right.
is a totally different thing. You can, I don't understand. I can't help it. You know what I'm saying? You know,
I don't
And
know. I need to be putting you in these. You need to be friending some of these people.
yeah, I need to be. I'm just saying, it just. And trust me, you gonna have me up there arguing with you. Me and you be fighting.
Well, shoot, because a lot of times, it's only me and another person, and we're both Black women. So, like, there's like there every once in a while a dude will jump in if they ain't been kicked out the group, because that'll happen. They kicked so many of us out the group. It's just like,
I think I was in that group. Is it the same group you put me in before?
yeah,
I think I haven't seen nothing from that group in a long fucking time, though. I think I
they
got
may
kicked out.
you may have got kicked out. Oh no, it may have been no. That was the group that guy started.
Yeah.
The thing about that, bless his heart. The thing about that is he wanted a group because a lot of times they look at me, oh, she's Black, but she's light skinned. So something's going on there. And they think, oh, I can get her to side with me. I can get others to side with me. And that's not what happened in the group. So it kind of just dismantled itself.
Okay.
Because it was started by him.
Okay.
You know, he put this big Wapala Bob on there, with me being the co-person, this, that, and the third. I'm like, I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for this, but since I'm here, you're gonna get my 2 cents because you're not gonna change my opinion. I'm sorry. When it comes to this topic right here, and I better know my stuff when I talk about it. I better be researching. I better know because we're talking about my people. You're not gonna tell me about my people. Yeah. I'm sorry, that's not about to happen. And you're not, and you're not one of us. No, you're not gonna tell me about my people.
What the matter is, and I feel like with most European type people, they don't even know their own history.
Right.
So to get them to know Black history is something else. Not like most people who are European, they don't know their own history. They don't know where they came from. They don't know who they were before they came over to this country. They don't even know who they were before. Like they don't know what they were.
I got a good one for that one because, you know, I watch a lot of documentaries on passing, and a lot of times, so when it up higher, the matriarch, she may know she's Black,
yeah,
but she looks white, so she keeps it a secret as much as possible. Yeah. Or her husband are both Black, but they appear to be white. They keep it a secret as much as possible, and then they don't tell their family, so their family just goes along and thinking, "Hey, I'm white," until they take a DNA test, or until something comes up like what is the one a lot of Black people have? No. I'm talking about like a disease that a lot of Black people have.
Vitiligo.
No.
When they got light skin? Or
that blood disorder.
Oh, you talking about sickle cell?
Huh?
Sickle cell.
Yeah, sickle cell. They pop up with sickle cell and they're like, huh? How do I have sickle cell? I thought that was a Black thing. And then they go get tested and they find out, oh, okay. Okay.
It's funny because when you say that, I think about the late great Paul Mooney. I don't know if you remember him as a comedian, but
yeah,
he had one joke. He said, "People don't go too far back in their family tree. If they shake it too hard, a nigga gonna fall out."
Exactly.
So it's like literally,
or a couple of them.
Very much a couple. You know what? All right. So if we really look back in not only in American history but also in European history, what people fail to realize is that Black people have always been around. Mm-hmm. People in Africa has always been around. It wasn't like white people went down to Africa and accident. It wasn't an accident that white people had found Black people. They were searching Black people out. Everybody knew about Mansa Musa. You know who Mansa Musa is, right?
Is that we're talking about Moors?
No, he's not. He's not a Moor. No. All right. So
I've heard of Mansa Musa though, but I think it was in correlation to Moors for some reason.
You know, Mansa Musa is not a Moor. Mansa Musa was the king of Mali. Mansa Musa had a great pilgrimage to Egypt, not to Mecca. But on his way to Mecca, he was giving out so much gold that he dropped the price of gold in Egypt for 10 years. Ooh. It wasn't until he he said he offered to put interest on buying all the gold back. So he was just giving away gold. He was literally the richest man ever to be alive by history standards. You know,
Mhm.
the Bible would tell you that Solomon was. No, it was Mansa Musa, a black king from Mali. And on his pilgrimage, he just changed the whole game. And it was that's when I say when they talk, it got so far that you have uh first you had a Muslim historian, I want to call him a historian, Ibn Battuta, who's seen the glory of Mali. He was one of the few people that went down there during the time. It is after Mansa Musa's death, but he went to Mali. Mali was also a Muslim country, per se, Muslim. Um, he went down there and seen all the riches of there. The Portuguese came to. The Portuguese were the first to come to Africa and seen all the gold in Africa. It was like amazed on how much wealth Africa had. And even though though Mali made a lot of money off the gold, the biggest export was actually salt. Because salt was worth more than gold because shit, you could use salt to preserve your food.
Mm-hmm.
And so literally they had salt mines, they had gold mines. People in Africa, like the Europeans knew about Mansa Musa. They knew about the riches of of sub-Saharan Africa.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't go down to sub-Saharan Africa looking for fucking slaves. They went to sub-Saharan Africa looking for fucking money.
Right.
Like these people were rich. You know
Talk
what I mean?
about it.
So these were kings and queens. And people don't understand that the Portuguese knew this. The English knew this. The French knew who Africans was. The Romans knew who African was.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They knew about the kingdom of Nubia. They knew about the Cushites. They knew about these people. Black people has always been in history. Even though I don't believe in the Bible, read your Bible. There's not a white motherfucker in the Bible. There's not a
But
real
they want it. But they want it to be. They want that Matthew, John, and Mark to be.
They're not
Come on now.
white.
Luke has to be. He's.
That's not a white person. All right. The original white people, the French, the English, they were the Romans would call them barbarians. The Greeks would call them barbarians because they spoke a different language. They lived in the fucking woods. They had no real fucking culture. They were beneath the Romans. I never, for my part, I never considered Italian people white. I never called them white.
That was a story I was going to tell about. Go ahead.
I never called them white. I always called Romans and Greeks and people who were Greeks, they were never white to me. They were Mediterranean to me. Sicilians are mixed with black, white, Italian, Greeks. That island was took over by so many people that they are all mixed up. So go ahead.
So part of the story, I've been trying to get around to it eventually. Part of the story that I also mentioned to them, I said, maybe you might have, I said people about passing or whatever, because Johnny Cash, his first wife. Now they couldn't prove it then. They had the little thing out there and it was a whole big thing or whatever. She looks like she's black, blah, 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 blah. Now it didn't wind up being a thing at that time. It was a thing, was a big thing. And they had to prove to everyone that she was technically Caucasian, European, whatever. But later, her daughter, Roseanne, was tested, like ancestry and test, or they did some like ancestry testing and history and found out that her mother, Vivian, her great-great-grandmother was a slave. She was black.
Did you see the pictures of this woman?
Oh, yes.
Nigga, this
gorgeous.
She looked like a Puerto Rican more than a white woman.
Exactly. She's gorgeous. And I said June could never. June, I'm just sorry, y'all, but I apologize to everyone, Johnny Cash and everybody else, but June was ugly. She wasn't no cute one. Okay. Now they had Reese Witherspoon play her in the thing to make her give that cuteness or whatever.
No, Vivian. Vivian. First of all, I'm looking at a picture of Vivian, and she was black. I'm looking at her face right now. She was
Right.
a mixed
That
black
that
woman.
that great grandmother came through all of those. She came through all of that, and at the end showed that I'm like, because I was looking at her mom. So Vivian's mom had that hair, that
Yeah,
hair that you kind of
yeah,
don't want to get wet because you know it's gonna go.
yeah.
Her mama had that hair.
I'm
So I'm
looking at
looking at
pictures of
I'm
this
looking at the
woman.
mama like
She looked like
I
a
would
light-skinned black woman.
yes, yes, and I truly and honestly believe y'all. I truly and honestly believe that Johnny Cash loved that woman. But when all that stuff happened that was talking about her race and this, that, and the third, then I think that's when it went sideways for him.
Yeah,
And
she.
then he had to pick somebody as white as June Carter Cash to be his wife.
Shit. I don't know why he stole all stole the music anyway. So what the fuck? But anyway,
Because I mean, come on now, Vivian, June, Vivian. I mean, there's no comparison there.
yeah.
Vivian was gorgeous, and then she was gorgeous until she passed away.
June was fine.
Do you
Vivian was
do
fine.
you see that flip back hair?
Yeah,
That
June,
white around here and it's flipped back. That's beautiful. And I'm sitting here like, yeah, I'm sorry, June. And she and to be honest, June and Johnny Cash only had one child together.
oh no, she was way better looking than June. I'm looking at pictures right now.
Yeah.
Oh
They
no,
only
no.
had one kid together.
Yeah, no. June.
All those girls,
Hmm?
those 4 girls that June Cash kept claiming,
Yeah,
those were
Vivian's.
Vivian's. Those are Vivian's daughter. I think it was Tara, Roseanne. I forgot the other two's last name. Or the other two's first
That
name.
showed me something new today because June was not good looking.
I was like, I think he just was like, I gotta do this for him. It was for the culture. I gotta do this for the culture because they're not gonna pay me. But yeah, as you can see, she looked black. Even in the color photos, like, gosh, she was
No. She got very black features. Matter of fact, if she don't look black, she look Puerto Rican herself. Like literally, she look like she's Spanish. But
and that's what I thought, like, as she got
she got
older.
strong African features. Like, especially
Exactly.
in the pictures I seen, she had strong African features.
Now the crazy part is they never show her own mother. They never showed her anything but black and white from what I could see.
Yeah, but
They never showed.
I can understand that because they didn't have color pictures back then.
But they showed her.
Yeah, they showed her in color, and she literally looked like a light skinned black person. She even had one. She was like your shade actually.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to say this, and what I mean, and like I said, that's why I started looking at philosophy a little bit more, and to really see what other people think, because I'm like I said, I always tell people, I always tell you, like I say it multiple times, I'm not into the religious thing no more because I feel like religion really hold people back from really finding who the fuck they really are.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, I'm looking at it and I really see like some of the stuff I read about. It just we need to get away as people. We need to get away from just accepting things because it was what it was from back in the day. You know what I mean? And we need to start looking into a lot of other alternative lifestyles and realize that first of all, they're not really alternative because they always been there.
Mm-hmm.
We just put them to the side because of our Christian faith for the most part. Because I want to say Christian because that's what it was.
Yeah.
Our Christian faith has said that this is wrong, but these lifestyles always been around. I always and I'm going to get off our subject of race and get onto our subject of get onto another subject of just being people. I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was telling me, this is the worst time in the world. When God comes and destroy the earth, something's going to happen to you, and you're going to be gone. And I wanted to tell her, like, honestly, if you think about it, this is not really a bad time, especially for you. You know, as a black woman, I mean, there's nobody coming into your house trying to rape you. You know what I mean? On purpose. There's nobody coming in killing your son for no reason. Like, and I'm not going to go into the African diaspora, but I'm going to just go to the European diaspora.
Hmm.
Europeans have been going to war with each other for years,
Years.
and so during that time, you talk about people coming in your house, they raping your wife, killing your son, taking your daughter away as a sex slave, like not as an actual slave, but raping her. This shit has been going on forever. So we live in a time now where, for the most part, it's not everywhere because there's still slavery, especially in Africa.
Yep.
There's still sex trafficking, you know, but for the most part, a woman in a first world country is fairly safe, considering the fact that she's not going to be raped while she's in her sleep, and she live by herself.
Nothing is, and if she is, that there'll be consequences behind it.
Yes, for the most part. For the most part, there will be consequences for a woman getting raped. There used to be a time where armies would come in, kill all the men, and rape all the women. So to sit up here and say that we are living in the worst time in history, pardon me, I feel like it's bogus. Like, it's not a real thing. I feel
I
like
feel like also that's not too far from this time right here, because the whole story about Doc Adams, who was sleeping with, I forgot her name, Lord Jesus, but he was sleeping with her and got her pregnant, and then she killed him. Now they didn't kill her, but they put her in the insane asylum, and she died outside of it later on in life. But that was a thing. Like black black women didn't own their own bodies
yeah,
in the South. Like that was a thing. Like a white man could sleep with you. Even we talking about, I want to say this was like the 50s, the 50s.
all right. So let's keep it 100% buck. Women are, for the most part, in the first world country that we live in, and especially now, are in charge of their own body. There used to be a time that women, I don't give a fuck if you're white, you're black, you're Spanish, you're Asian, you had no control over your body. You got raped, it was like, fuck that. Who give a fuck? But now we live in a time where women control their own body for the most part. And if somebody do steal or take from their body, there are consequences.
But we talking about the protection
But
of a
even
black woman versus the
especially like
protection of a
now,
white woman, because
now
you
with
could
the,
you talking about a married white woman
yeah,
versus a married, this black woman was married.
yeah.
So he was sleeping with her and got her pregnant while she was married. This wasn't her husband and her separated, or she had a boyfriend, or she was single. Like that
Was he
most of the
sleeping with
time,
her or was he raping her? That's a difference.
right. That's what I'm saying. Like she would go to the doctor's office and he would force himself on her.
So he was raping her.
Right.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying, that black women didn't have a right to their own bodies. Like,
Yeah.
go to the doctor's office. Oh, she's beautiful. I'm gonna sleep with her,
Yeah.
and he can knock her out, and bam bam, thank you ma'am, and going about her. And all of a sudden, here comes this light skinned baby. But how did that happen when?
I'm dark as shit.
Right. And my so was my husband.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of times, that type of stuff, that creepy shit would happen also with white women. But as far as,
yeah, I'm gonna say like, all right.
but a black man
I know
sleeping with a white woman would be totally different. Who was married? It didn't matter if she was married or not. A black man sleeping with a white woman was totally different.
He would get his balls cut off. Let's stop that. But
Death.
I'm not going to say, all right, let's keep it a buck though. And I'm going to say it like this, especially when it comes to oppression in human society. Women have had the worst oppression where they lost control of their own body. Women never had a control of their own body, ever. And the white women were raped, and people didn't give a fuck either. Now, mind you, it wasn't like black women, of course. You know what I mean? But a white woman can be raped by a white man, and it still wouldn't give a damn. It's always on a white woman. Um, it just, it just like I don't know. Now I've been reading on this for a minute, and when it comes down to women, women in history have been given the short end of the stick from the beginning.
Hmm.
And a lot of what, like, you think about wars and shit like that. When a fucking army would come into your city, what's the first thing they're going to do? Well, what's one of the first things they're going to do?
I
You know,
mean, most of the time they're burning stuff down.
they're going to burn down the city, they're going to kill the men, and rape all the women. Like, say for instance, we live in Albemarle. Imagine if Albemarle was his own city, kingdom, and somebody from fucking Wadesboro come in and they decided to take over Albemarle. They bust through or Stanley County. They bust through Stanley County's walls. They start killing all the men, and the first thing they're gonna do is rape all the women. You know what I mean? That's what the armies did. A
Hmm.
women in history, other than let's be real, other than in in African culture that we can read of, never had control of their own body. You know what I mean? Women never had control of their own body.
Wasn't there matriarchs though, and
Africa had matriarchs.
but also in like I guess this Native American, was that ever a
Oh
thing?
yeah, Native American. All right, I'm sorry, that's me. In Native American culture, matriarchs were in there,
Hmm.
but like as a whole, as a worldwide thing, who were supposed to be unsavaged, what I mean, women really never had control over their own body ever.
Well, I feel like even today, I feel like the that black women, you've seen the hashtag protect black women.
Yeah,
I feel like black women are still the ass of society. But we're coming up. Like we're doing big things. Like somebody tried to say it was a thing. Oh gosh, yes, that thing. Where I was going back and forth with this person who wound up being a dude.
yeah.
Who was talking about, this race of women is winning, or teach black women how to behave, blah 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 blah. Like, first of all, black women are the most educated population in America.
They are.
So let's give us our props for that. And number two, um, so what if a black woman doesn't want to get married? Like, when that's some of us, that's not the goal. Like,
You know what?
ultimately.
And I'm gonna tell you like this. I feel like this. I think, especially with women, but I just think as a culture, marriage is something that's overrated. And I feel like forcing people to be married is not really a good thing. Like, and like, we put God in it and stuff like that. But I feel like certain things that the expectation of marriage also have plays a really big role in being married. Like, people expect when you get married that you're going to be with this person forever, and the sex is going to be good forever, and everything's going to be good forever. But I feel like if you can have a decent relationship with a child's father, because I don't give a damn what anybody say, a child needs his father, but you don't have to be married to be able to have a life fulfilled. I mean, and if you're in a marriage where where you don't have a partner that compliments you, and I'm not talking about sexually or romantically, I'm talking about, like, say shit, I need help with my bills, or I need somebody to help take care of me. You know what I mean? If you're not in a relationship where somebody can actually help take care of you, then what can you? I mean, really, marriage is overrated. There's nothing wrong with a black woman being single and empowered over her own body.
And
You know what I mean?
choosing when she wants to have a child versus,
Yeah,
oh,
there's nothing wrong with that though.
you know what I'm
There's,
saying?
there's nothing wrong with a woman, or especially a black woman, choosing when she want to have a child, choosing when she want to date or deal with somebody, choosing the fact that she don't want to have somebody in her life totally and uninhibited and uninhibited. I don't know.
The
It
way
just
I see it is, a lot of times these are how these things work. So usually, white man, then black man, then white woman, then black woman.
there we go.
And there could be like other colors in there somewhere, blah 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 blah.
But you know what's funny though? Because I really don't think that white women actually see themselves as being the third on the list.
Oh no, they see themselves above. I feel like
Yeah.
they see themselves above the black man.
Yeah, they really see themselves above the black man, and they really are not above the black man. They literally are third on that list. And like white women have black women thinking that they're being treated so bad by their black man, but in reality, black men treat their black women pretty okay for the most part, considering what they go through. Now, there's a cultural society now that make that makes black men and black women bump heads against each other. You know what I mean? Which didn't happen like 30 years ago. You know what
That's
I mean?
because that was the gender roles. You know, I was talking about that earlier today. Those gender roles help in now y'all get let's and further in other episodes. I was all like, there are no gender roles. Like now, there's currently none. But those gender roles help define what a woman is and what a man is, and their places and their parts where one is lacking, the other is there as their helpmate, and those puzzle pieces come together to form that's what that was. Now we don't have those gender roles are crumbling. They're crumbling, and so now it's hard to fit pieces together, and then you wonder why. Well, why do we have the highest rate of divorce? Why is there so many single parents? Why is there? Because
now,
the gender roles.
I want to disagree with you on. All right, the divorce thing is. All right, I'm going to just say it like this. It's easier for you to get divorced now than ever before in life. I mean, now you can have a no fault divorce. You don't have to prove somebody cheating or shit like that. You know what I mean? But I really feel like when it comes to divorce, people get divorced for what? Infidelity, correct?
Not always.
Not always, but people tend to get divorced for the infidelity. My thing is with infidelity has always been people always been cheating.
Yeah, and people even to this day will still be with a husband or a wife that cheats. That's still a thing.
And I'm glad you said white because I always hear women be like, "Oh man, my man always cheat. Men always cheat." There's a lot of fucking women that cheat, and niggas stay with them.
I read a survey or a study that said the smarter the woman, the more she would cheat.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that. I really do believe that. I mean, we are, like I said, we are taught that monogamy is just an automatic thing with human beings, and that's not true. You know what I mean? You are taught monogamy. You're not born with it and bred that you were going to be monogamous.
Well, I think it's kind of like, okay, so like I learned the Apostles' Creed because I went to church every Sunday, and I learned not because someone taught it to me, but because that's what they did every Sunday. So eventually I picked up that I picked it up, right? Nobody ever taught it to me. So I feel like the whole thing, like if you saw your father out there with all these different women and you know that he would come home to your mom, I kind of feel like those type of things capsulate into a younger person's mind, and they think, oh, that's how it's supposed to be. Or if you're in a relation or you're a child and you're watching your parents and all you see is them two together all the time, like my parents go to the grocery store together even today. Now they'll go to the grocery store separately, but in my mind I felt like my husband should be going to the grocery store with me because that's what I saw growing up. All our life when we were young kids, there was never hardly a time that my mother had to go to the grocery store by herself. My dad was there and we would just go to the magazine now, read magazines, whatever. But I feel like it's what you see, not necessarily what you're taught, what you're whatever, is what you see. And that kind of emulates or kinds of what's the word I'm looking for? It's a psych term, and I can't think of it right now. But that they conform to doing that because that's what they see.
All
You
right,
know?
I'm gonna be honest with you. My mom and my dad never went shopping together. They never went. They did go out to bars sometimes together, but they never really hung out together like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna be honest. Like, I have never ever seen my dad with another woman ever in life.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was never with multiple women. I don't know what the stories are in the background of that because I was a child, but my dad was never ever with another woman. I'm not. I'm going to just sit here and say just because you don't see it, or just because you don't see it, don't mean that you were not going to do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, though, I have seen my uncles creep. I have no cousins who creep. I know female cousins who creep. So it's not like I don't know people who creep. But when it comes down to my father, I have never seen my dad ever creep. But in the same right, I never have seen my parents ever do anything together either.
And so that whole brings me back to at least one aspect that I know of, because you said it yourself about you and your wife going out together. You're kind of like,
Yeah, I'm not. It's something that I'm not used to doing because I'm not used to seeing it. Like, my dad, you go to the bar. My dad, you go out, you drink, you come home, cause hell. My mom used to fight him, and then that was it. That was life. You know what I mean? My mom and dad used to fight. My mom was 5 foot nothing, and she was a 6'3" man who was about 253 pounds, pure muscle, just naturally built strong. And she used to go in the kitchen, grab a knife, and her and him used to go at it every day, every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. He used to be passed out drunk. This is what I remember from my childhood. You
mm-hmm,
know what I mean? Now, mind you, I don't hate my father. You know what I mean? I don't. My father passed, but I never hated my father.
mm-hmm,
You know what I mean? I wish he was a better man because I feel like he was one of the few people I know that had natural gifts. Like my dad could sing. Like literally, my dad could out sing anybody who's out right now, and he can sing just as good as anybody who was in the music business when he was young. But he was alcoholic. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm,
So growing up, all I know is alcoholic. Now I might be drinking now, but you know me. I don't drink during the week.
mm-mm,
I drink during the show.
mm-hmm.
I'm a little nice right now.
I've already had what I was going to have today.
You know what I mean? Exactly. But I don't really drink during the week. I probably rarely ever drink during the weekend. I just drink when I do the show or when I'm out with friends. I'm not one of those people who drink at home. My dad was one of those people who sat there and drank at home. And that caused the negativeness of me actually watching that where I don't call myself alcoholic. And I'm not alcoholic. It's not me being in fucking denial. It's just the fact that I drink when I feel like drinking. Like after
Mm-hmm.
this fucking drink, I probably won't drink in 2 months. Like literally that shit, I drunk it all, but that shit was in my refrigerator for about 3 weeks now. When was Memorial Day? No, it was before my birthday. So I had this shit in there on since May 23rd, and I'm finally drinking the rest of it. So like literally, I'm not a drinker unless I got around people, and I grew up in a house like that, so I said I will not do that. But I don't think it's something that your surroundings raise you up to doing. I was talking to somebody earlier, and now for nothing, her mom was a different type of influence on her, but she is not like her mother. So sometimes the people that you grow up around teaches you that you don't want to be like them. Now,
Yeah.
don't get me
Yeah,
wrong.
I get that too. Like, I think you pick up the positive or what you seem as positive, what you see as quote unquote right. Because, like, you feel like it's not right to go out together with your spouse. Whereas I'm like, no, we can go everywhere together because my parents went.
No. Let's stop. I don't say it's not right to go out everywhere, go out with my spouse. I do believe in that. I'm just saying I don't feel like I have to go everywhere with my spouse.
Well, not everywhere. I'm talking about like going out. Like part, like the club, that type of thing.
No, I don't. I don't like going out to the club by myself. No, I'm like,
That's what I'm talking about. But
I'm not. I'm
I'm
not big. I'm not big on going to the club with my spouse. If we
my
go out,
parents,
we're going out to
they went out everywhere together, everywhere. So they would go to parties together. They would
hold
you
on,
know,
hold on one moment. I'm gonna put this on.
okay.
Okay. All right. All right. So yeah, and you know what? It's weird because that is true. Like me being raised the way I was raised, my mom and dad did not go out to the bar together. I'm not saying they didn't go out because they did go out. You know what I mean? I got pictures of that shit. But I don't know. My mom could, and it's also like my mom never had to check in with my dad or where she was at. You know what I mean? It was like she had a call and be like, "Yo, Johnny, I'm at Vernon House, or I'm out with the people from the, from the church or something like that." Or my dad never was like, "Yeah, Arlene, I'm at the bar. I'm at Ernest's house. I'm at I forget what his friend name is. I ain't gonna say it, Logic, but I I never grew up with that because my mom was never one who was chase my dad around. You know what I mean? Like I said, I have no proof that my dad didn't cheat, but at the same right, I have no proof that he did. You know what I mean? So, and what I personally hear is every time he went out, he always said, "I got a wife. I love my wife. Everything like that." My dad was just an alcoholic, but it was never something where he was going out cheap. And where his uncles would say, is even if they wanted him to cheat, he wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? That was in him. You know what I mean? But like me having to follow after, like I'm at the point now where I don't feel like I had to follow after anybody in my life. You know what I mean? I don't have to follow up what you doing, call you up. Like we had this conversation before. I really don't. I don't want to know. If you creeping, I don't want to know. I'm like that motherfucking P Diddy song. I don't want to know if you cheating. Just keep it on the low. I feel like if I find out you're cheating, then shit, you're being disrespectful to me because guess what? If I'm not looking for it and I find out, that means shit. You can give a fuck how I feel because I caught
Like you tried to let you know.
you. Yeah, you wanted me to find that shit out, but me looking for it, no, I don't. I always feel like people who look for it or go through people's phone or try to search where they at. Man, look, I ain't doing all of that. That's too much fucking work. I got enough work at my job.
Mm. But I never saw that either.
Exactly. Now, like I said, I can't tell you that my dad did not cheat, but I can tell you that I have never stolen. My sister tried to tell me something, but I'm like, I never saw it.
I know my parents, my father. I remember when my dad got baptized. Like he was not a church goer. Like, and my mom didn't give us the option to stay with dad. Only like the second service. You can stay with your dad on the second service, but you're gonna get your behind up and eat these breakfast and get ready to go to church. So we went to church every Sunday. We went to church like 4 times a week. So, and dad would be working, or if he was off that night, we couldn't stay with him. That was not an option. Like if my mother, as soon as the church door swung open, we was up in there. And I guess that's why I have this. I mean, it's always in the back of my mind about church and this, that, and the third, but I don't have it in me. Like if I ain't got to go to church, if I don't feel like going to church, I'm not going. And now I know my brother, the middle one, is different.
Yeah.
They got him learning piano and this, that, and third. So
he was in it. He was in it.
Right, but he wasn't playing at our church for a while. He started like towards the end. I think my grandmother started him when he was like 15, and then he started playing at the church then. But then that's carried him. He's had working jobs at big churches in like Charlotte, and he found a church in Florida where he was working as a pianist.
I got a question. All right, so like I said, I never grew up in a church. I was your witness, and I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like when it comes to religion. I done told you I'm an atheist now,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't. Like I had this discussion with somebody a couple of days ago. All right, so I want to be honest with you. I feel like growing up a Jehovah's Witness really helped me. Hold on, I'm sorry. Somebody said something. All right, really helped me stay away from bullshit. And when
Mm-hmm.
I say it's helped me stay away from bullshit, I mean, I tell people all the time. Anybody who know where I'm from know that I grew up in the hood. I grew up in the ghetto. I grew up with some grimy ass niggas, grimy ass motherfucking kids, and shit like that. So it really did keep me away from that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the concept of religion as a whole or God as a whole, it, I tried. I personally tried to really believe in it, but it still was lost in me because I feel like certain things that's happening now, if there was a God, it wouldn't be happening. But anyway, you know, I just know that I was able to but I cannot lie. Growing up, I feel like it really helped me become a 42-year-old instead of being dead at like what 21.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of the people I grew up with, drug dealers, became drug dealers, drug addicts, or in jail right now. You know what I'm saying? So I really feel like I had no goals of going to college. You know what I mean? I had no college goals of going to. And you know what I mean? My cousins, most of them were, drug dealers or drug addicts. You know what I mean? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
42 and I'm not on drugs. I'm not in jail. I haven't been in jail for nothing really serious anyway. You know what I mean? I never dealt drugs before. You know what I mean? I never had to hustle. But knowing my mom before she became a Jehovah's Witness, my mom was wild as hell. You know what I mean? My grandma used to throw all kinds of parties and shit like that. My mom's mom, of course. You know what I mean? She used to be wild as fuck. You know what I mean? My dad was an alcoholic. I always say that. And, but at the end of the day, being a Jehovah's Witness and having male influences that my dad was not. My dad was not the male influence in my life, and I can honestly say that I love my dad to death. Me and him had beef when I was younger. When he passed, I almost died in myself inside me because
Mm-hmm.
when you lose somebody like that, it hurts. But I can honestly say that there were grown men that was in my Christian congregation that taught me how to be a man, whereas my dad could not or did not. But to sit up here and be like, but I can't believe in the doctrine because I feel like the more I do research, the more it comes out to be like it's fake to me. You know what I mean? So that's my only problem with religion. It just don't come out to be real to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this argument with my homegirl. She's like, why don't you just get yourself back in and come back and I can talk to you? I feel like if you my friend, my personal choice on whether or not I want to be religious should not be required on the fact that I'm in that religion. You know what I'm saying? You my friend. I'm not going to discourage you from being part of that religion, but to sit up here and say, well, I can't talk to you if I become a part of this religion. Oh, I feel like it's nonsense. And I don't care if it bothers me, period. Because if I'm your friend, I have never did nothing to dishonor you. But you feel like if you become part of a religion, you can't talk to me. Then really, is that God or is that man telling you that?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? As many sinful people, I mean, to me, I know my Bible. I have read the Bible, but I also know that the Bible is full of contradictions. Growing up, I was always taught that you only have one wife. I look at the Bible. Guess what? A Muslim
Mm-hmm.
have multiple wives. They have at least
Yeah.
two wives. At least two wives. So wait a minute. You told me I'm supposed to have one wife, but in your Bible, all your Bible heroes have two wives, and God did not curse them. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? All your Bible heroes, like look at Samson. Samson got tricked by Delilah, right? Was
Mm-hmm.
Delilah his wife? No. Samson was fucking around with Delilah, and he was already married to another woman.
Mm-hmm.
But he was supposed to be a great warrior, a great judge of the Jews. But he was married to one woman, didn't really fuck with her, was fucking Delilah. I don't give a fuck what you say. How the fuck a woman gonna put you to sleep unless she gives you some pussy? I'm sorry, straight up.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And they cut his hair off. But he was fucking Delilah. You know what I mean? And you and I, like, you hear about Ruth in the Bible. She was Obadiah's second wife. You know what I mean? He already had one wife. He had two wives. Then I don't know. I just if you read your Bible, he's like, wait a minute, this is a whole contradiction. But I can't lie and say that the lifestyle that I lived did not save my life. It did. And I know I got totally off subject. I'm so sorry.
Hold on.
All right, y'all. Her boyfriend's calling her or texting her right now.
No, it's not.
Her husband is texting her. I'm sorry.
I do not have a husband.
She have a husband.
America, don't believe it.
He has a husband.
I do not.
We don't put our real business out. We do not put our real business out there, so I will not say it.
I have none of those. None of those.
None of what?
I don't have a significant other.
Okay. Okay.
I don't.
I hope your friend is subscribed because I'm subscribing more people for my job.
You said what?
I got more people. I got people. I gave people at my job a link to the thing to this. I don't know. Look. All right. So I know we went through a lot today. I can't lie. And Summer, I really do enjoy talking to you. I really do.
You
So
just said my name. Edit.
Edit that. All right. So two, I really do enjoy talking to you for real. And literally, I feel like we may not agree on everything because I know we don't, but I feel like we do have a good connection on a lot of things. And the fact is, the biggest fact about you I really like is the fact that you're not a conventional thinker. You are very much outside the box, and I love that about how you think. Um, and I don't know. Like I said, I'm not born from here, so I don't have the. Well, I'm a country boy. I just believe in I believe in God and country. God and country, like nation. But
Yeah.
I don't believe in that. And I do see there's a lot of things wrong with this country when it comes down to race relations. But I do have to admit that it could be worse. It could be
What's
worse.
that?
And I think at this time we are living in the most freest time in American history. So we can't deny that. Now, that's not saying that just because we do live in the most freest time, that it can be better. It can be better. you know.
Right. It always can be better.
Yeah.
You should always strive in yourself to be better. Even if you did, 100% yesterday, tomorrow, do 101.
Yeah.
Like, you should always try to do better.
You know what? All right. So, especially with this, my big thing is, and we're going to go back, all right, we can come all the way back to the beginning of the topic. A lot of it is with people. I feel like people are afraid of progress. And when things start to change and they're not comfortable with it, that does say the most about when it comes down to racism, sexism, and all that. Because now they're not comfortable with it. Now, my thing always has been and always will be the fact with Trump supporters, they never, ever, ever, ever comment on the fact that there will be they're upset that people got freedom that they didn't have. And they're trying to hold on to that past, that imagination of the good old days. You know what I mean? That's the same thing I hear when I hear people say, "Oh, back in the day, people stayed married forever," and the nonsense that people don't tell you is that people have been cheating forever. And
Yeah.
people got other family forever, and grandma more than likely grandma stayed and kept her family together. You know what I mean?
And also had a junior that wasn't Papa's.
Exactly. You know what I mean? because the milkman was coming through and making house calls.
It wasn't all just the milkman.
The mailman, the paper
It
man.
was, or they would just go out because I remember I hear a lot of people down here. Back in the day, my granny and them age, they was going out. And it didn't matter if they were married or not. They was going out.
All right.
They was tooting it up. They was
So
drinking, carrying on,
so growing
bring their
up,
kids and leave them in the car.
I will tell you like this. I talked to my grandma. My grandma passed like 2 years ago. She died actually on my 40th birthday. Exactly on my 40th birthday.
Mm.
And my grandma was 91 years old. And she would tell me when I used to live with her about over 20 years ago. I used to live with her, and she would tell me about the stories about the niggas that she had on standby and how she used to play her game. And to this day, I joke with you about that, but you ain't never catch it. But I always tell you, is it safe? Is it safe? You know what? My grandma told me that shit when I was like 21. She was to say, I heard you on the phone. Did you ask that girl, was it safe? What you talking about, grandma? Safe for you to come over because I know she got a man. Now, mind you, me and you ain't fucking around, so that's good.
Right.
But I just used to laugh when she used to say that shit. Is it safe? But she used to tell me her before she passed, years and years ago before she passed. She used to told me her stories, and literally when she got done telling me almost all her stories, you know when I came out with the conclusion, my conclusion was, "Damn, grandma, you was a hoe." Grandma had niggas on standby. Like, and she had game with her. Like, she used to say, yeah, because my brother taught me the game, so I already knew how things was. I was like, that's pearls, grandma got game. Grandma used to tell me shit that I didn't even know that grandma knew. And grandma was in her 80s at the time. So I don't know, 70s, 80s at the time. And so, that's the thing that these older people or just these people who are just so holy and sanctified, what I mean, is nonsense. You know what I mean? People been creeping forever. People been having babies by outside people forever. The shit is not new. And what I'm learning is the shit that we think is brand new is just unique to our time. Like for a polyamorous relationship, we think that's just new to being now and modern, but in reality, in Greek and Roman times, and even in African times, these were normal situations. You know what I mean? This is something that was happening in Rome all the time. There was no big deal about a man marrying two wives and they all having sex together and having a family together. You know what I mean? It just now that in these times, oh wow, oh my goodness, that is exceptional. How do they do that now? But back then, it was something normal. You know what I mean? Homosexuality. You would think with the church that homosexuality was just born 100 years ago, but homosexuality has been around forever, forever. You ever watch that movie 300?
I don't think so.
You know the one about the Spartans holding off the Medes and the Persians.
I may have. I don't remember. There's
Well,
so many. They have so many different movies about that. So
well, in reality, all those shirtless men were fucking gay. All women were used for back then was to make more men.
Procreate.
That was it. Like I always say this shit, and now like people be
Well,
like,
not all. Come on now.
no,
It wasn't like all the men were gay.
not all the men were gay. There was damn, what is
Some of them enjoyed vagina.
All right, so so if you look at the history, most of the Roman emperors had some gay tendencies, but Tiberius Caesar was straight pussy. He loved pussy. That's all he fucked with, pussy. Now they were also family of incest, but we're not going to go there. But then not all of them were gay. Not everybody was gay back then. Not this, but shit, homosexuality was very prevalent. If you think about fucking the Spartans, they were gay, and it was very much encouraged to be gay. You know what I mean? It was once said that the love of a man is worth way more than the love of a woman. Now, mind you, I'm nowhere near gay. I just know the history of that shit. Um, I'm just saying, like in general, the stuff that we think as, oh well, oh my god, this is just happening in our time. Now, this shit always been happening. You know what I
I
mean?
don't know who is saying that.
People say that shit all the fucking time. Like, all right,
I don't
for
hear it.
instance, for
I've
instance,
always heard.
in my old religion, you would think that this is going to be the end of time because people are just so egregious and so awful. And if you look at history, people were worse. People were nastier back in history. And I'm talking about European history. We're not even gonna go through Asian history. People were nasty. They were
I've,
perverted.
with all that said, I've always heard there's nothing new under the sun, and that's all I've been from the time I was a child. Like everything that's happening now has happened and has been happening, and you ain't the first one to know about it. You ain't the first one to have happened to you.
Exactly.
It's gonna happen again, and
But
that's just it.
my ex religion used to preach that, but my mama used to always tell me that it's the same stew cooked in the same pot, heated up over and over again. Everything that happened back in the 70s happened in the 90s. Niggas, it got down to the fucking afros and the fucking bell bottom pants the motherfuckers were wearing.
That happened. That happened in the. That's happening even now.
Exactly.
We've gone back to afros.
Exactly.
More people getting locks. Like, but it's now. Thank God for this. It's being more acceptable of our hair for it to grow naturally from our head, however that may be.
Yeah.
Now, they try to Europeanize us with our hair. Like, you can't wear braids. Well, have you seen my hair? Do you see how it goes? Like, why can't I wear braids? That's not professional. Or locks. That's not professional.
I love look. And now you know. Mm-hmm. My lock journey. I've been having locks since what? November of last year. And no, it definitely is locked since November of last year. I'll be like this all the time. You should see me. I'll be swinging my locks around. And they finally fell the fuck down. I was like, oh shit. Tubes really did that shit this time. Look at that shit. Shaking my hair. And the hair flowing on my fucking forehead. But no, seriously though, I'm playing around. But seriously, locks are being more accepted now than they were before.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You know what? In life, certain things that were not accepted as being professional are. Like I was on my Zoom meeting today. I was at work. I'm not going to tell you what my job is, but I was at work, and one of the trainers, one of the quality control people, white dude, just to make sure you know he's white. This dude had tattoos all the way down his arm, and in his meeting he had a big old thing of Transformers and fucking Voltron. I love fucking Voltron. I grew up on this. But like the tattoos are normal now. Now not on your fucking face, but it's normal to have a tattoo. You know, it's like you're not going to be disqualified from a job because you have a tattoo.
Or a nose ring.
Or a nose ring. You know,
or a tongue ring.
Or a tongue ring. Now you have a tattoo on your face. I can't help you on
that. No tattoos on the face in professional environment. But if you want to work for yourself, tattoo your face up.
I mean, I got tattoos. Shit, fuck it.
Just think about just think about the job that you're pulling. Like my daughter, she wants tattoos. She wants another piercing. Her nose already pierced. She wants to pierce on the other side. But the profession that she's going into, that's not going to bother it.
What's the profession?
Cosmetology, or even an RN.
No, it don't follow you. It don't bother you with cosmetology.
Like that type of thing gives you an edge in cosmetology.
Yeah, my niece is a cosmetologist, and she got nose rings everywhere, and tattoos too.
But if she wanted to be a doctor,
no,
I would say, baby, just one nose ring, because number one, A doctor is seen higher than a nurse.
Yeah.
Like if you want, because she wants to be either or both, an RN, or she wants to be, in cosmetology.
Hold on one
And I'm
moment.
like, you can.
Hold on one moment. All right, go ahead. All right, so she's trying to be a doctor and a cosmetologist.
Not a doctor, a nurse.
Now, I wouldn't suggest that for a nurse, so I'm gonna be honest with you. That's still not.
She can. I've seen nurses.
You seen nurses with tattoos on their face?
No, she's not getting a tattoo on her face.
I was about to say no. Oh well.
No, I said a nose piercing.
With piercings?
Yes.
I have not seen a nurse wear multiple piercings on her face.
I have. Yeah, I definitely have. And tattoos up here. It may not be on the face, but you can still see it like right here. And tattoos on the neck. And male nurses with the full sleeves. Like y'all seen.
Oh no, I haven't seen nurses with sleeves on their sleeves, so that's not a big deal. I don't know. Like this society that we live in is a little bit more lenient to things than it was 50 years ago. Actually, I'll be honest with you. I feel like society has become more stringent on things 100 years ago. And now they're starting to loosen the fuck back up.
I hope. I'm waiting for them to legalize marijuana.
You know what? There used to be a time where I used to be like, ain't no way in the world, North Carolina, especially South Carolina, but North Carolina is going to legalize weed. But now that I've seen everything go through, and they're actually first of all, they're making a big business out of it. So people are actually making a lot of money off of stock options.
Mm-hmm.
So
you can find the good ones.
Now that there's real money being made off of it, it's always been money, but legitimate money made off of it. I think in a couple of years, the NBA is going to stop doing it, stop testing for it. NFL is going to stop testing for it.
As long as jobs stop testing for it, because that's the main thing.
Amazon stopped testing for it. Walmart stopped testing for it. You know what I mean? So jobs are starting to stop testing for marijuana. So it's going to come to a point where I feel like it's going to become legal within the next 10 years. All over.
I'm gonna give you 5 because otherwise
I was being gracious.
Otherwise, I'm finna move.
I was being gracious. All right, because it's already legal in New Jersey, and like there are other states that it's already legal in.
And there's places in North Carolina that that you can use it medically. They have it in a pill form.
Yeah, and they had decriminalized. Like I said, they decriminalized it in New Jersey. They decriminalized it in California, Colorado. Like literally, like shit. Have you been to Miami lately? You go to Miami.
I was gonna say Florida.
In Florida, you can buy open market. You can buy weed open market. They don't even fucking.
I know. I knew that when we visited. The times that I've gone down there, that's the first thing I was like, yo, let's go, because it is what it is.
Yeah, I have no problem with weed. I never had a problem with weed itself. I had a problem with heroin because I feel like heroin really fuck people up.
I mean, anything, but I feel like anything that has to be manufacturally made.
Yeah.
From its like if you can like extracting, when you're making edibles, you're extracting from the plant, but like you are taking the cocoa plant, cacao, and you're doing all types of manipulative things to it to make it what it is.
You know what? Cocaine can be a natural accelerant, though. Like,
I mean, cocaine, yes, but you're still adding stuff to it.
No, like, all right. So, cocaine, what people from Colombia should do, that's where cocaine really come from. They used to chew the plant.
I mean, chewing the plant. Chew the plant. Yeah. Chew it. But I just feel like the byproducts of the plant making cocaine, because it's kind of like sugar.
Yeah.
Like sugar's not white.
No, sugar's brown. Yeah.
So, like, I feel like white sugar that we eat is not good for us.
No, it's not.
And I feel like anything, basically anything that's so Heroin comes from poppy.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know what heroin looks like. I've never seen heroin.
Heroin
I never.
is brown.
Heroin is brown. Okay. Well, I feel like that could be a medication, but it's addictive. It's
Right,
so addictive that you have to keep going for the high, and then the high that you get and the other stuff they put in it causes you to overrun your heart, and then you die.
So with heroin and cocaine, and we're going to just talk about this. Heroin and cocaine were both at one point legal drugs. Like shit, you can buy heroin off a serial. You can buy heroin out of a serial catalog. Like the needles and all that out of the serial catalog. It wasn't like a lot of these drugs that became drug narcotics or illegal or were made illegal because they try to I've been drinking too much, but they try to stigmatize people who take them drugs. So, for instance, cocaine was attributed to black people, and they were told that black people take cocaine and they will rape white women. Real true story. Same
or
thing.
Opium.
Or same thing with marijuana. Marijuana was made illegal because they said that Mexican people will rape white women. All these things are raping white women. Like literally, and you know what? White women can be beautiful, but I don't view them.
I don't feel like it was that time. I mean, what did it do to white people then? Because they were using it too.
Oh, they were using it too.
Did it make them white women too?
But all right, you gotta understand this though. Back, especially in the 1900s and especially the 20s, nigga, you couldn't even drink alcohol legally.
No, they at that time they had, that was what, prohibition.
So you can. So there were religious groups turning out alcohol. So you telling me they criminalized? So they had to criminalize something. So they criminalized cocaine and marijuana and heroin.
Opium.
You know what I mean? Opium. Because opium, shit. They had opium dens in the West, in California, and shit like that. So Asian people brought the opium over here. Actually, we always say Asian people. I say Asian people, but reality is the British is the one who really promoted opium sales.
Shit, I want some poppies. That's what I want. Some real ones.
Yeah.
Give me a poppy and the cow plant. I guarantee you, I'll use it just as a plant because I bet you the same stuff that you can do with marijuana with a poppy and a like the cow plant, you can do the same thing. Like you could probably manufacture a safe substance to take instead of that stuff that you're like killing yourself.
Only thing with dope is I feel like now when it comes down to weed, I have never seen nobody really fucked up over weed. You may be high, you may be going in the kitchen getting food, but your life ain't really fucked up. But people who smoke and who do heroin, I have seen their lives. I have seen these people, and people who are addicted to this shit, their lives are not good. And people who are addicted to heroin, like I would never, ever, ever say, I would even say legalize cocaine, but more than I would say heroin, because I have seen heroin addicts, and they do nothing for society. At least cocaine addicts, they just get energy to fucking work more. Dope heads, nigga, they can't even fucking move. So I don't know. To me, I'm big on. I would rather see somebody on cocaine than heroin because I know motherfuckers work with heroin. But
yeah, there's a lot of functioning coke addicts, a lot.
Yeah,
and
you can function with coke. You cannot.
But people, they made the ecstasy was a drug. Yeah, like ecstasy was was prescribed.
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you, and I don't know how to do it, but I wanted to try ecstasy.
You'd enjoy it.
Have you did it?
I have.
I have never done it.
When I was much younger. You'd enjoy it. I don't even know. I feel like and this is when I was much, much younger. I just felt like Bobby was like, because I did it at a party, and I just felt like everything was love. Like, yeah, I love this person, I love that person, they love me.
I would love to have ecstasy one time in my life. Now, weed, I have had weed, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Other than the edibles, I like edibles. I have edibles get me high.
Hmm.
Other than the edibles, like actually smoking weed, that does nothing for me at all.
When I was when I was in college, and everybody was smoking weed then. That's the first time that I've been around it since I was like 16, 17, 18. So I graduated high school. I'd been around it, but I never smoked it. And I didn't start smoking it till I went to college. And it didn't do nothing for me either. So
It don't. Like, weed never did nothing for me, and cigarettes never did nothing for me either.
but I understand the high though. I understand it because
There's a high. I never had that.
it's not that, you know how when you eat an edible, it's
Yeah.
like a whole body high.
Yeah,
It's like, it's like, woo,
you
you
be
feel
feeling
good.
you feel like, woo, yeah.
Yeah, you feel good. When you are smoking, it's more so like a calming thing. And I think that's why people smoke it and they smoke it, every day.
Yeah, I can't.
Because it's like it calms anxiety. If you're up jumpity, whatever, jittery, it calms that. Like it's if you need to go to sleep, it'll do that. If you're, you know, that something's about to, any type of like anxiety, especially, but it doesn't make you like, it can make you shit face.
No.
But like I was in the car with somebody and I caught the contact, and I'm not gonna say I was the smartest one in the car, but y'all, I was the smartest one in the car. And I even did a dumb situation. I looked at the movie tickets, saw that the time was 10, it was already 10:17, and the movie started at 10. Why did we leave and go get something to eat and then come back and wait it now? And then everybody comes out the movie theater. There's nobody else in the movie theater.
Mm.
And then we're getting ready to go in. We look like some asses. We look dumb. And we go in there, we sit down, and the movie never starts.
Now, you know what? I have done weed. I have smoked weed multiple times in life. I haven't smoked weed lately. You know what I mean? So I can't sit up here. I haven't done no narcotic lately. But in reality, I done I never got high off of weed. And that, like, other than the edible, I have never been high off of weed. Only thing I tried one time was one time I went out with my homeboy and we met these girls on the street,
Mhm.
and we went over their house and he came down with some weed. So me and him smoked that shit, passed it off, smoked the shit. And nigga, I was higher than I have ever been in life. Like, really super high. Like,
Mhm.
a high I have never been on weed ever. And so literally that night went buck wild crazy. Like, literally I was buck wild that night. The next day I find out that the weed that he gave me wasn't weed, but it was wet.
Oh.
And wet is kind of like angel dust. I don't know how to really describe it for down here, but it would kind of mix with embalming fluid type of shit.
Mhm.
And I knew I was super high, and I was super high off of something that I don't get high off of. And I was like, wow, how is my nigga going to do that to me? But I'm straight now. I don't need this shit right now. But that probably was the highest I have ever been, where I was doing crazy shit behind an office building with a female that I probably would have never did off of that wet. Like, I was driving my car crazy. I gave no fucks that night. And I could have got arrested that night and I would have been in jail and not even give it that.
Mm.
Literally, I would have been fighting every nigga in jail.
Mm.
And it didn't even matter. You know what I mean? But I want to end the show with this point at this point. And I really want to. All right, so this is like, I didn't do a show last week, but I did put up 2 shows last week, so that was straight. If you like the shows, like what we talking about, like, you know what I mean, hit that like button, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? You know, I know we a little long winded, but whatever it is what it is. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? But I'm gonna be honest with you, and I know I'm drinking, so it might come out funny,
You
but
don't drink.
I'm not drunk, maybe a little bit. But but yo, too, I really enjoy talking to you. Like I love doing the show with you for real.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? She's not she's not feeling herself today, so she's pretty good. So she can talk shit today. Cause last week she was feeling some type of way. I'm not gonna say it, but she was feeling some type of way last week. But anyway, too, I really do enjoy doing the show with you. This is fun. I like the way you like we bounce off each other pretty well. You know what I mean? So anybody who sees this will know that. Look at my fucking eyes. My eyes are like down. Like yo,
America, he is drunk.
I am drunk, yo, nigga. I feel nice right now.
Yeah, I can tell.
Like really, I feel nice.
My
But
nice nights hasn't kicked in, I guess. Probably when I stand up.
if y'all look at last week's show, not the first one I put up, but the second one we had the guest person on there, nigga, she was nice. Nigga,
Jealous.
you were nice.
I had a
I'm
whole
nice too.
drink.
You ain't drink nothing.
I did drink something today.
You drunk some of that last week though?
Mm-hmm.
You were drinking last week?
Mm-hmm. I had 2 cups over here.
You know what? We were drinking. She did not drink nothing last week. I haven't talked to her in a minute. I gotta call her, but she was there. I actually enjoyed her on there. Like you know, what
I
I
did
mean?
too.
And she actually, you know what? Some girl from my job said she wanted to be on the show. I was like, okay, we ain't got no. It's not. It's a podcast, but ain't a lot of people looking at it, so you can make an ask.
I think that it's because we don't upload stuff to Facebook, but you got to do some mad editing because first of all, you're not gonna put my name up there, and some of the stuff that I do, you cannot have on there. Some of the stuff that you've mentioned, like you can't have that on there and then post it on Facebook. That's the reason why I don't post a lot of stuff on Facebook because I'm like,
that's the reason why that's the reason why I don't post nothing on Facebook either. It's weird though because I was at work today and like yesterday I was like, yo, I do podcasts, and they were like, yo, put your own email, put your own podcast up, and I was like, I really don't want to put that up there because if I put it up there, people might think I'm crazy. But literally, like, yeah, I tried. That's the reason why I don't post up on nigga. You know why I don't post up on Facebook, boy.
yeah.
I have all kind of questions coming to me.
All I know, I would do it. I would definitely do it, but some of the things, and I ain't talking about the thing about races, and that type of thing.
You know what the weird thing is? I don't have a problem with the things we talk about racism because I really don't. But there's other relationship shit. People are like,
oh, I don't mind about that either. Because I'm single. Again, America, I am single.
Well, single dog.
America, I'm single. That's don't pay him no mind. I too is single.
Try if y'all wanna.
I'm single.
She'll go out with you, but y'all have somebody calling y'all phone like, what the fuck?
No, America.
I'm playing.
But like we gonna have to go over some editing on the other ones, and I'll post them on Facebook. Ain't nothing to me. I'll post them on Facebook, and then we can gather this following. But
you know what though? Honestly, we do. I do need to do the more of I love our show. I love talking to you. Like I said, we talk like America. You think we crazy on YouTube, nigga? You need to literally. You need to hear our conversations.
Just sit there and eavesdrop because you're gonna be like
this is just a partial of what we talk about. Like nigga, we go and we have no fucking filter whatsoever. You know what I mean? Now that I got this new job, I can't fucking talk. But nigga, like we go in hard for real. Like it's not really funny. You know what I'm saying? Like me and Summer talk.
edit.
me and two. this is my nigga right here for real, for real. Like I can't even lie to you. She my nigga for real. You know what I'm saying? So we talk about a lot of stuff, and I like the fact that we're both unconventional about shit. So you know what I mean. I kind of got I can ride her wave, and she can ride my wave a little bit, and it's like you know what I'm saying. And you know what the best part about having Trina on was Trina was basically somebody who was very conventional, and to talk to her, and it was like really crazy that I could talk to her about shit, and it was
Yeah.
like you know what I mean. Like I said though, when I put it down that I do a podcast on for my job, people are like I want to get on one. I'm like,
Come on with it.
do you really want to
Hey,
get on
come
this
on with
shit?
it.
Like, you know,
Just know. I mean, we're not gonna like just put you on the spot. We'll ask,
no, never that.
but come on. I haven't said or I haven't posted. Does anyone want to be on my podcast? I haven't done that per se.
Do that. Do that. Cause you got some. You got. I already had my special guest on there. I got another person I want to put on here too, because he the one. All right. So literally, the person I want to put on, I ain't gonna say his name at the moment because you know what I mean. I'm still trying to get this together. But the person I want to put on, he inspired me to do it because they talked about everything, and like this motherfucker talked about. I don't know if you know. There used to be a page on the internet called Backpage.
Mhm.
I don't know if you ever heard about that. You can buy hookers and shit like that. This
Mhm.
nigga used to talk about that. This nigga told a story about that shit. Nigga, I died laughing. It was the funniest shit ever. So like, I love the way he does his shit. You know what I mean? So honestly, I'm at the point where I really want to start to get this going and get this popping. You know what I mean? First thing we're gonna have to do is today I'm gonna let her go because she looked like she said she was feeling bad today. But I really want to get her lighting right because I have no shadows and she got all the shadows and she got my fucking best lights. So
I don't have them on. I'm literally in a very, very dark room because of my eyes right now. I don't
and
I
she got
have
my best lights.
I'm good at acting, y'all, because trust and believe me, I know I'll get on here, but I'll talk or whatever. But yeah, I need to go lay down probably.
Yeah. So what I want to
I
do.
didn't want the lights on.
So what ended up happening is eventually I'm gonna have to go over there and show her how to get the lights together so she can look like me.
One day I did have it together.
Oh God, yes you did.
And then he was like, "Oh, something's going on with your screen." And then I moved it. Never no more. It has not been the same since.
Well, we're gonna fix that. We're gonna fix that. I'll be over her house and I'm gonna fix it for her. You know what I mean? But you know what? I'm not going to talk to you about it on here because we can ready to end this right now. But I am going to talk to you as soon as we end this because I seen something today. I was like, yo, we need to get back to this. All right. So, you know what I mean? As I say, we talked about racism and, modern culture and shit like that. So I had a good time with you today too. So I'm going to end the show like this.
I did it again.
So this is the end of the show. My name is Tyler Marsh. She is.
Two Winters.
And this is.
Talking shit with TNT.
And we out, homie.
BigTones.com.